Good evening, my beautiful people. How are you tonight? I am so delighted and excited to see you all again today here in this space. I am Deshawn Antoinette Booker, your maximizing coach. And you know what? Happy holidays. I'm looking festive because it is December. We are so many less days out from Christmas. And I just want to say happy holidays to you. And I hope that you are manifesting all of your heart's desires. Listen, you know that I am super duper excited this evening to bring you another phenomenal. Listen, we are dropping nuggets tonight on the Yummy Cafe. And you know what that means, right? Your unlimited magnificence means you and me. How do we allow other people's journeys to literally influence where we're going? If you don't know who I am, I'll give you just a little bit of a backdrop to who I am and what I do, right? I am your maximizing coach. I am the founder and creator of Maximizing Your Magnificence. And what I just love to do is that I am a conduit. I am simply that person that is serving in a space where I am working with powerhouse women so that they can show up in their lives and reaching their highest potential. I work with women so that they are always being intentional, living and working from a place of integrity so that they can manifest the increase in their lives in every area that they desire to. I am also the founder of the Magnificence Formula, and I use tools and programs and optimize elevated series levels so that I am able to really allow women to reach their highest potential in having a successful lifestyle personally and professionally. But tonight, you are in this space of the Yummy Cafe. I have always been so intrigued with women entrepreneurs who knew what they wanted and went and succeeded at any cost, even when those odds were against them. I've always said this and I'll say it again. And it's the true story. As a young girl, I would sit literally in my bedroom. I would go get my mom's magazines. You know, your mom had magazines that came through the mail. And I would flip through those magazines and I was just drawn to the women who were business women, who were actors and who were writers, who were in politics. And I was just drawn to their drive and determination and how they were succeeding in life, how they were making an impact. And you know what? Because I was that girl then and I'm still that girl today, I wanted a backstage pass. I wanted to know, how did they get there? How did they do what they're doing? How did they turn their passion into profit? How do you go from turning an idea to an investment, right? How do you do that? We tend to always see the outcome. We see what a person has done after they've laid the groundwork. So I wanted a space where I could celebrate women entrepreneurs who would share with us, honey, listen, they would give us the behind the scene, the backstage pass to how their journey came about. And all of their highs and lows and ups and downs, the breakthroughs, and of course, those barriers along the way. I just wanted to know, tell me, sister, tell me, what was it about you inside of you that said, I must keep going? I have to do this because it's the desires of my heart. It is called my purpose driven life. So I wanted that space. And this is that space. We are here so that we can literally allow ourselves that backstage pass and having a conversation with these beautiful, awesome, phenomenal women who have become successful, phenomenal entrepreneurs. Now, for those of you that are watching live, let me tell you how we work this. It's a conversation. You can put in your feedback. You can chat with us. Absolutely. We want you to do that. I will read them. I'm going to, allow you to have that conversation with us. It's a dialogue. If you're watching the replay, make sure you put hashtag replay. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions for myself or the phenomenal guest, Yes, type that in. And of course, we will get back with you. And I mean that. Yes, I do. So, ladies, go get your cup and your salsa, sit at the table of the Yummy Cafe, and get ready for what I call diamonds for your destiny and nuggets to take you on your way. I am super duper excited as this is the final show for 2021. So we are talking about manifesting, how you've been manifesting your heart's desires all this year. And I have for you a woman who is phenomenal, who is going to come. She is so transparent. You're not going to believe it. You're not going to be able to write your notes quick enough as you are listening to how she is instructing, teaching, inspiring, and motivating you to do exactly what we want you to do, which is manifest your heart's desires. Miss Maura Gale, producer, actress, speaker, author, radio host, creator of Motivation, is a Chicago native. She is a midwife and motivational coach for many. As an actor, you've seen her on stage, TV, and film. Her newest feature film release placed her opposite of Mr. Lawrence Fishburne as his wife, Drusilla Christian, in Brothers Keepers. You can see that it is here on Amazon. In 2022, she is already lined up what she is doing. Listen, Miss Mara, you can catch her on NBC's Ordinary Joe as Pam. She will be also reoccurring on Kingdom Business on BET Plus, April 2022. And she will be also reoccurring her role as Judge Ruth Matthews on the CW's Dynasty. And as Gloria Stewart on Bounce TV, Saints and Sinners. You may have also seen her in Bigger, Amazing Stories, or Their Eyes Were Watching God. Mara has co-produced, co-wrote, and co-starred in the award-winning docudrama STEM, The Movement, currently available on DVD. She is the host of OMG. Oh, Maura Gale, a nationally syndicated podcast and radio show with nearly 2 million listeners on uptomeradio.com. She is a well-known voiceover talent, heard on hundreds of radio and TV commercials, and is most known for voicing the character Fortune for the Meta Gear franchise. Mara is a keynote speaker, facilitator, and MC for conferences, retreats, and special events around the world and enjoys touring her Christian Woman One shows. She speaks. It is a biblical dramatization of women of the word and petals, Petals, personal, encouraging testimonies about life's struggles. Mara is also the author of Beyond Blessed, an autobiographical page turner, and The Anointed Agenda, a Christian organizer. She has produced, released two spoken word CDs, Ear Candy and Ride, Rosa Ride. Mara accepted a new role as the First Lady of Vernon Park and resides in South suburbs of Chicago with her husband, Pastor Jay. Catch her serving hashtag Motivation on all social media at Maura Gale, as well as Facebook fan page at The Real Mara. You can also view news, schedule, and purchase ministry products via her website at margale.com. As a successful entrepreneur, Mara has manifested her dreams into a successful and sustainable empire and continues to build it day by day. Listen, you know I am just thrilled that she took time out of her busy productive schedule. She's just got back, honey, from Atlanta. She's all over the place doing her thing, spreading her purpose and giving her gift to the world. I want to bring to our stage, to our table, to our yummy cafe, my dear sister friend and my soror, my mentor, my everything. This woman is phenomenal. Without any further ado, Come on through, Miss Maura Gale. Hello.
Hello there, you beautiful woman of God. You thinking like a boss, acting like a boss, talking like a boss, walking like a boss. Thank you for allowing me to share the space of Yummy Cafe today.
Yes. Yes. How are you, beautiful? How are
I
you?
am marvelistic, my
I
dear.
love it.
It don't get no better. I
I love
promise
it.
you, if I had a twin, I'd have to pass it on to somebody.
Listen, I am telling the listeners and those watching the replay, don't wait until you get in your groove before they go get their pen, their paper, and text and email and send a chat this way and all of these text messages to tell everyone they are missing it to join in. Ladies and gentlemen, get
Yes,
ready for the conversation because,
yes,
as I've always promised the listeners, I'm bringing you, yes, content, but it's inspirational because so often, Mara, we see the person's, where they are, right?
yeah,
And we go, oh, they did that overnight. Right. So I said,
yes.
we need that space because I'm just that inquisitive girl. I am. And I want to know too, how did you do it? What had happened? How did you come back? How did you do your, what I call your bounce back factor? So this conversation is that this evening, this woman is just pure love,
Mhm.
sincerity, and transparency. And I thank you, my sister, for being here with us this evening to share your jewels. I thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me. I am so excited that I get to make a deposit, come by and do a little drive by for Christ. I thank you for reading my bio, and I praise God for when I hear the words back, it tells me that through it all, He obviously carried me, pushed me,
Yeah.
and afforded me an opportunity to do all the things that I do. But it's all Him. I can't even take no credit. I mean, I've been at this game for a long time.
Mark,
For I've been
we met on the when you were in the play. I keep forget oh, it almost came to me.
Mr.
The
Right
play,
Now.
no,
Which one?
Shirley,
Oh,
Central
Shirley
Central
Jofini, Central
Central Avenue.
Avenue. I didn't realize that was where we. Okay, so let me just break down Central Avenue. I had my character in Central Avenue had to sing all of her lines. There was not a word of dialogue. When I auditioned for the play, it said
Okay.
must sing. I auditioned for it. When I showed up, when I got cast and I was going through the script, I realized I had narrow word to speak. Every word of
Wow.
dialogue was in song. And I
Wow.
remember telling Shirley Jofini, no, I was sharing it with somebody. Shirley Jofini overheard me. I said, I've known Shirley Jofini for a long time. I guess that's why she cast me because, I don't sing. And she ripped me a new hole. No,
Did
no, no. She ripped me a new hole. And then after the first review came out, she called me, cursed me out, and said, go get the Sun Times because obviously I'm not the only one that thinks you can sing. And
okay.
the LA Sun Times had written up an article about me,
Wow.
about my singing, but unbeknownst to the audience, bronchitis set up because I was terrified to
Mm,
sing because someone had told me, and I'll reveal his name because he later apologized. I was doing a stage play for David Talbert,
yes.
and our vocalist had a sore throat. And so the music director put me on to do scatting and sing jazz, and it was going over great. And during the middle of the set, he said, she can't sing, get her off the stage. I didn't hire her to be a singer. It deflated my everything. And I
Of
stopped
course.
singing from that day forward. I
Okay.
started shrinking and I would just do spoken word poetry. And when I
Mm,
got cast in that play was the first time that I had professionally sang since that night that David Talbert said what he said. And get this, David Talbert and his wife Lynn showed up to the play. I
mm,
didn't know they were in the
I
audience.
didn't know
And I
this.
came out of the theater, and he said to me, I am so sorry. He said, you sing jazz.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
said, I cried,
Yes.
literally, grown woman.
Yes.
I
Yes.
cried because when I auditioned for him originally to sing, it was a gospel singing, and I was singing against Kitra. I can't even think of her last name right now, and she's scatting to the high heavens, and I'm singing gospel. I'm mesmerized. It was like me singing with Whitney Houston. I'm
Right.
trying to carry a note in a bucket, but
Right.
he knew I couldn't sing gospel. he had never heard me sing jazz. So when he saw me sing jazz, his mind went back to, she doesn't sing gospel. Why is she singing? But that apology is what started watering the seed again
Mm,
for
mm.
me to be who God called me to be. And let this be a reminder for those of you that are tuned
Yes,
in,
yes,
leaned in, and listening up. When someone says something negative about you, when
yes.
someone in a moment of whatever steals your thunder, steals your
Yes.
joy, robs you of your confidence, you got to think about how many positive affirming or affirming things have been said to you. Don't let that one do
Mm,
what it did to me,
that's
rob me of the years I had been singing. I had sang in plays in college and plays outside of college, and I let that one temporary negative puncture wound me for 15 years.
wow. Wow. See,
15 years.
we haven't even gotten into, see, let's listen to this prelude here. See? Right. That long, that long.
It punctured me and it damaged me, and I shrunk down. And
Right.
from that point on, I took singer out of my title.
Wow. I wouldn't have never known that you were beautiful in that play.
Thank you.
Beautiful. I mean,
Thank
it
you.
was, yeah, you were beautiful.
And you
That,
know what's deep about it? We're not gonna tarry on this play for real, but out of that play, my agent, my LA agent, David Moss, became my agent because he came to see the play and I wasn't in it. He was listening to one of my understudy, an understudy was in for me. He was listening to the radio, and the radio announcer said, if you haven't caught Central Avenue, you must go see it, if only to catch Maura Gale, who plays this role in as this sultry singer in this play. Do you know he called the theater and asked for a second comp to come back to catch me and sign
Mom,
me that night?
Mar, you are giving me
Uh,
chills,
but
Mom.
but and all of this is just coming back to me. It just came back to me because you happened to say
Yeah, that's where
this.
we met. I was her assistant. I was the assistant to the director on the show. And
Oh
that's,
my
yeah,
God.
yeah, yeah. And that's where and so I always remember your energy and your talent and your light. I always remember. And you've been the same. You've been the same. Mara, you've been the same. You
Mirrored
know,
reflection of you, beautiful, because you're the
thank
same way.
you.
You give out bright rays every day, sunshine on a cloudy day, every day.
Oh my God. So yeah, that is you had a full circle moment with him.
I
Look
did.
at that.
I did. And some people don't get that. Sometimes
Wow.
you never get an
You sure
apology from
don't.
the person who actually wounded you, and he didn't even know he wounded me.
He didn't even know.
That's the deep part. He was just being a director.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in the moment he wasn't listening to what happened. He was recalling what he hired me for.
Wow.
Yeah, it was an interesting we've laughed and talked about that since, but yeah, that moment there was no talking.
Right.
Mm-mm.
Like, no,
I
you didn't.
didn't have nothing to say to he.
Right. No, you didn't. What are you saying?
No.
Well, I love that story. I'm glad that, I shared that to hear that. And again, it just sets the seed for where we're going in this conversation. It shows the tenacity, right, that
Mhm.
one must have in trusting self and
Yeah.
trusting what God has called you to do because
Yeah.
people are human and they're going to make human mistakes. We are all literally responding at our level of consciousness and
Yes.
we don't always know to choose the right choices in those moments and so we're human. So thank goodness that you bounced back and
Yeah.
you have been bouncing back. I start the show, the conversation with this. I call them moments, and I always want for my beautiful guests to share with those that are listening. Mara,
Mhm.
when did you know? When was your inception moment? Now let me say this before you began, and however you take this and wherever you go with it. When I say behind your name, speaker, writer, author, producer, actress, right? When I say
Mhm.
radio host, when I say that you are a creator of an empire, when did that happen for you? What age? How did that begin to shape? And which one came first, second, third, fourth? What were you picking and choosing? What were you hearing from God as this little cute girl? I'm sure you were bouncing around with all this energy. What was your inception moment to know that you needed to pursue one of these paths. How did that happen for you?
That story I can almost recall as if it were yesterday. Um, and I have to set the story up because even as a little kid, I used to host these stage plays called Whoop a Mama and Drama Mama in the basement, where me and my sister, my baby sister, we would charge people like 5 cents to come in the basement and see us acting out all of these dramas that my mom and my dad, whatever they would do to us, we would put it on display in the basement. So
Wow.
from a very early age, I knew I had a gift of storytelling,
Yeah.
retelling stories. But then on top of that, the community around me kind of embraced me. They knew I loved speaking. They knew I loved emceeing. They knew I loved dancing. So they would call on me, and I was the ham. Oh yes, you want me to sing? You want me to dance? Da da da. You want me to whatever? And so that grew my confidence. And when I got to high school,
Mm.
I was studying accounting, and I remember having a really horrific memory, and we were taking a history test. I was majoring in accounting. That's what I was doing. And we were taking a history test. And in order for me to retain all of the information, I decided to make up a rap about it. So I made up a rap about the entire history test that we had to take. And so I'm sitting in class bobbing my head while I'm taking the test. So when the teacher, Mrs. Brown, collected the papers, she said, she collected them all. She says, Maura, she called me Gail at the time because that's my middle name actually. She says, Gail, she says, what kind of music are you thinking about that you were bobbing your head the entire time? I said, oh, I wrote a poem about the whole history lesson. And she said, huh? I said, everything you taught us this whole semester, I wrote a poem about. And so
Wow.
I wrote it so I know what I needed to put. She was like, I don't understand. I said, well, I could show you better than I could tell you. So I got up in the front of the class and I began to do this rap
Mm.
about history. And
Mm.
the kids, their brains went crazy. Like, I got that right. Oh man, I missed that. I got that right. Oh, I got that right too. And she realized in that moment the power, the teaching power
Yeah.
of being a lyricist, a storyteller, which is what I was doing. I was
Mm.
being a storyteller. And she took that gift of mine, bless her soul, and she went to our music department, Mr. Harris, and she told him that I could rap. And he decided to create a fundraiser for our school was Carver High School in the inner city in Allgale Gardens in
Okay.
Chicago. And he decided to allow us to create a rap album because he was a music person, not just in school, but outside of school. He helped us craft a rap album in 1983 that then, because it was an inner city school, all the TV stations picked up ABC, CBS, NBC, all of the local TV stations picked up. We were
Right.
a national phenomenon. We were literally signing autographs at every record store. I've got the record here. Oh, it's on the shelf. I've got the record here because I literally have the album here. Anyway, we started signing autographs, and that set me on a trajectory to do rap.
Wow.
And then he
Okay.
submitted me, unbeknownst to me, to a nationwide rap contest that Curtis Blow was having. And I won. And that paid my way to college. And so when I went to college, I told you I had been majoring in accounting. I ended up shifting my major to
Okay.
radio and television, and
Okay.
then decided to broaden it because somebody heard I could sing. I did an audition for a play, and the director of the theater was like, you've got to major in theater. So I created a major called theatrical broadcasting. That's what I graduated in, but it combined television, theater, dance, and music. And I literally do all of those things right
Right.
now.
Right.
So
Right.
that's the arc of how it started. But I had to give you the backstory
Yeah.
because the
Yeah.
confidence had to be there in
Right.
order for me to get in front of the class and do the rap, in order for that teacher to see the boldness and the storytelling factor, in order to tell the music teacher that then put me in the contest, that then paid my way to college, that
College.
then allowed me to do all the other stuff. And I never looked back. I started acting in college and dancing semi-professionally, and singing, scatting, jazz tunes at semi-professional groups, and never looked back. And then went on, of course, to work for CNN Headline News straight out of college. 3 months after I graduated, I was working for Ted Turner, and then later was transferred down to Headline News in Atlanta. And I was moonlighting. I would work there at night, and
Oh,
I'd act during the day.
That was my next question. Were you focused solely on the television as a journalist, as just a newscaster, or did you always know, no, I'm an artist. There's an artist in here.
I loved it all. And I still love it all. And people used to say to me, but which one? But
Which
which one? I was like, that's like asking a mother of five, which kid would you just give up? I
that's right.
mean,
That's
you
right.
don't want to give up any of your babies because as
No,
long as my
no.
baby looks like its daddy, which is God, as long as my
Right.
baby looks like its daddy, which is
Mm,
God, then
mm,
it's my baby and that's my daddy's baby. And so how dare I give up my daddy's baby?
that's
I
right.
just, it just was comprehensible. I
That's
couldn't even
right.
imagine it. So I did all of them until, my body don't let me dance like I used to anymore. But all the rest of it, I
Yeah.
still do. And I use my
Yeah.
broadcasting skills to craft story in order to tell story
Right.
as an actor. And I use it also for my radio shows doing
Yeah.
research on my guests. So all of the broadcast skills get used for that. My acting skills, of course, are on full display full time. And then my writing skills for writing my books and crafting my one woman shows, all of the skills that I learned and I still do. Instead of rap, I slowed that thing down. I now
Yeah.
do poetry.
Yes.
But it's still in the same vein, creating rap and rhythm and rhyme. All of it is still a combination of everything that I started doing initially, I still do. And of course, voiceovers, because I was a radio host even in college. I did the late night show, slow jams all
Mm-hmm.
night.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
still working, honey.
So I'm so full because I love the story of the seed that was planted and then how, the nurturing of that and your commitment to it. When did you know that you began, or how did you know that you were moving in towards professional career? How did that begin to develop for you, and what did you create first for yourself, because there's several businesses.
Right. Okay. So I mentioned to you that I went to work for CNN Headline News and then I started acting full time. I retired from CNN Headline News in 1990
Okay, wow.
and
Wow.
worked a job since.
Wow.
This is all I've done since then. I became what I call an entrepreneur, Black woman working self-employed. And and it has
Wait, Mara, say that again for the people who
I'm
didn't
an
hear that.
entrepreneur, Black woman working self-employed. And I know how to negotiate too. That means I can negotiate with my people. But I in 1990 when I left to act full time, it wasn't I was originally I did a what do you call it? What do you call a medical leave of absence? No, what do you call the leave of absence that's non-medical? I can't remember what it's called. That's how long it's been since I worked a job. So I did a non-medical leave of absence in order to tour with the Atlanta Stage Company playhouse in Atlanta. And then the second year that I had planned to go on a leave, they told me I couldn't do another non-medical leave. So I quit in 1990. Unbeknownst to me, when I went to go ahead and sign my contract, they decided the theater company had decided to go with a younger person. Now, mind you, I was young, but they wanted young. And
Wow.
so I had already left the job, although I could have went back. I took that opportunity to allow it to be wind beneath my wings.
Mm,
And I got cast in a lead role of my first film, a young lady named Paula Felder, and the cinematographer was Joe Jowers. And at the time, they were married, and I had my first love scene. And I weighed 185 pounds when I got cast. But I hired a personal trainer, a guy named Antoine Mills. And in 3 months, I went from 185 to 150. When I showed up on set, this was back
wow.
in 1991 or 92. When I showed up on set 30 pounds lighter, the
Yeah.
director called me. When I came in, she was like, come here. She called me in the back room. She was like, are you okay? Are you sick? Because this was at the height of AIDS, HIV and AIDS. She thought I had HIV or AIDS because it was such a drastic weight
Drastic.
loss.
Yes. Yes.
And I told her that I had literally hired Antoine. I had lost the weight legit and that this is what I was eating. And she was like, well, you look good. Let's shoot. And that's how that whole thing started. So I was a full-time professional actress from the moment that I jumped out, the net appeared.
Wow.
Now remember, there was a net there when I initially jumped.
Right.
But I had the time and the space and favor to go right back to where I was. No time had even passed. I could have went right back to where I was, but I decided to see if the net would appear. And I got cast in that film less than 2 months after that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You knew who you were. You bet on self.
Yes.
You said this is who I am. This is where I am.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. And so when did you begin to co-create the extensions
Mhm.
of what you were creating for your platform, for your companies, your businesses? How did that happen?
Okay, so I go from this full-time actress, working at the TV station, to then a full-time actress, and it wasn't until I moved to LA after I don't know, Teresa TV Blake, right? You know her.
Yes.
So we did a play with Bernadette Speaks. We did a play called For Color Girls at the Steppenwolf Theater. And the Steppenwolf Theater is John Malkovich's theater. It's huge.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's a major deal. When you do the Steppenwolf, it's like you have arrived.
Right.
Anyway, so after that play, TV says she was moving to LA. And I was like, I'm going to go. And she was like, girl, I've been planning this for 3 years. She was like, I'm serious. I was like, no, I'm going to go. I'm going to move there with you. She was like, Maura, don't play with me. I was like, no, I'm going to go down there. She was like, you've never been? I was like, no, I've never been to LA. Had never been. And she was like, you going what? I was like, let me go visit. I was like, I'll look and see some apartments. And then if I like it, I said, I'm moving. I'm moving there with you. So literally I flew out, I rented a car, and I happened to see a complex that I really liked in a community called Fox Hills by Culver City
Uh-huh.
Mall.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I paid off the rent for 1 whole year. I came back and told TV that I had rented us the apartment, told her where it was. And she says, oh my God, that's the area I wanted to live in. And so she paid me every month rent for that
Okay.
first year. And I showed up in LA about 3 or 4 months after she got there. So she had planted herself at Faithful Central. And when I got out there after her 3 or 4 months later, I planted myself at Faithful Central. And then I started developing the gifts of acting for God. You know what I mean? Then I started doing that. But
Yeah.
then that's when the Lord gave me the seed of the anointed agenda. I was touring. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. I was touring on David Talbert's play, Mr. Right Now. And I'll never forget this. It was like Sodom and Gomorrah. Because people were doing a lot of things
They do. They
off the
do.
stage. And I
Oh yes.
remember David coming to
Yeah.
me saying, I just knew you were going to buckle. I just knew. He said, but you a real Christian. Because I was so shocked that we were getting on plane on Monday. We were taking a flight every Monday. And I was so afraid the plane was going to fall out of the air, the sky, because of what people were doing, that all I would do literally, they're out hanging out, and I am writing the Anointed Agenda, which is my Christian organizer that I produced, and it was published every year for 17 years. And in its heyday, it was in 22 states and 2 countries. It was my livelihood. I'd
I
make,
remember it.
yeah, I'd
I
sell,
remember it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
sell like 10,000 copies in just a 4 month period. And I
Yeah.
didn't have to even work and do anything else, but I was still doing everything else I was doing. So that's how I got bit with the seed of being an entrepreneur, because I realized I could work 2 months, sell books for 4 months, and I could live off of that for the whole year. But I didn't stop there. I kept doing other things. And then I started doing spoken word and poetry. And so I ended up saying, oh, people were like, well, when are you gonna produce an album? I was like, okay, I'll produce an album. And Andrew Goucher and
Oh yes.
Curtis Andrews Goucher did 2 songs. Curtis Dow did a song for me.
Mhm.
And then Femi Ojetunde Oluwa, who is a producer for Quincy Jones' son, Trey, he produced a couple of my songs on the CD, and I
Wow.
produced and published it. And
Wow.
then Janelle from Fat Effects was stunned because I went to buy 1,000 CDs. He was like, how are you going to sell 1,000 CDs as an independent artist? I was like, oh, I will. I came back in 3 months and I was like, I need 2,000 more. And so he started using my model of what I had done
Huh?
as a model to teach other independent artists that they
Oh.
too could
Okay.
sell these CDs. But it was just about, I happened to have something that people were hungry for. I used to say it was Jill Scott. It's kind of like Jill Scott meets the Word of God. That's what I would call my drive-bys for Christ.
Yes.
So
Yes.
first it was the agenda, then it was Ear Candy, the spoken word
I
CD.
remember.
And then I was doing Their Eyes Were Watching God. with Halle Berry and them. And the conference that I was scheduled to do, the Christian retreat, I didn't have a new product. And they were like, well, what you gonna bring us this time? And I was
Yeah.
like, I don't have nothing. I had t-shirts before, I had candles, I had, my CDs, my
Yeah.
organizer. So I wrote
Yes.
Beyond Blessed in 24 days while shooting the film. Their eyes were watching God. While we
Yes.
were offset, I would just write and I would send the chapter to the editor. They'd send it back. I'd revise it. And we did that every night until the book was finished. And then the book, I printed up 300 copies. They were sold the day that I got them, and I had a back order of 500, so I ordered 1,000, and then I ended up selling, I don't know, must be 50,000 books from the back of my car. I used to call it the Pop the Trunk Ministry.
Yeah.
So all of those things came out of a need and a desire of other people. People wanted more from me, and I had the potential or the reservoir to
Mhm.
actually pour it out, which is then when I started these phrases, these Maravations or these
Yeah.
Mara-isms. So I
Yeah.
would say, my cup is so full, you can have a sip from my saucer. So I started sharing things like that, and then mentoring, and then came midwifing and coaching. And that's kind of how the baby got birthed, all because I didn't want to die on the airplane. I was like, Lord, I'm gonna give you my gift because I just don't know what's gonna happen. I
Right.
didn't
I can't go
know.
down with these heathens. I'm
I
not going
couldn't.
down.
And I didn't want to be hypocritical or
Right.
judgmental. But I mean, and they were calling me, oh, church lady. They were calling me names, but I was just like, you know what? And I loved them. I
Yeah.
loved the
Yeah.
cast. Everybody was just young and they were on their own doing their
Right.
thing. But
Right.
me and daddy, I took my walk serious.
Right. That's right.
And that's not to say that other people didn't repent and get over it, but I was like, no, Lord, I got places I want to go, and I want you to be with me every place I go. I never wanted
Right.
him to leave the room because
Yeah.
of what I was doing, you
Yeah.
know?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I hadn't replayed that story in forever.
Wow.
Yummy, yummy. You getting some
Yes.
yummy
Right.
stuff today.
Right.
You
This
hear
is
me?
yummy. This is it. Listen, I'm hearing something that often, is heard and said by entrepreneurs, right? And in coaching, in the world of self development, and in that arena, and it is often said, you have to find what is the solution you're providing to others,
Yep.
right? What is it that you're offering? And for you, it showed up in such a innocent way. People were asking you for more of what you were doing, what you were creating or nibbling at, and you said, oh, well, wait, they want more of this? And so, again, those of you that are listening and watching the replay, when we're talking about the journey of an entrepreneur, because I coach women, been coaching for over 20 years, and all of those, questions that I'm hearing, one of the questions is always, well, how do I know, Deshawn, what path to take? How do I know really what the purpose is? How do I really know what should I narrow, or become laser focused on?
Hmm.
And I said, well, it's not really that. I'm not giving you some type of equation or formula, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
But again, what is it that you believe you have to offer that maybe not just maybe, no one else can do it the way you do it?
There is no other Deshawn. There is no other Mara. And that
Right,
doesn't make me better than anybody. It makes me special and it makes me unique because I show up as me. I can't, people go, oh my goodness, you're the Oprah of our circle. No, I'm the Mara of your circle
yeah.
because Oprah's job is already taken. It's already taken, and she's
Yeah,
doing a darn good job at it.
yeah, isn't
I
she?
can't
Yeah,
outdo her. I
right,
can't outdo her no more than I can outdo Tamara
right,
Hall. They
right.
are doing what they're supposed to
That's
do.
right.
Tamara is not Oprah. Tamara
That's
is
right.
Tamara.
That's
So
right.
Deshaun is Deshaun and Mara
That's
is
right.
Mara and you are you. And the day you let that resonate and
Mm,
ring louder than your nose and your negative imps that sit on your shoulder, the day you
yes. Yes.
maximize and realize that for yourself, and you know that you know that you know that you are more
Right.
than enough, that you are worthy, that God didn't make an accident, that you were designed on purpose, and that you have something that somebody is literally dying to receive. And
Yes.
until you give birth to it, they're going to
Yes.
stay in that dead place. They'll stay
Woo!
in that lost place.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you got to give birth to it. You've
That's
got
right.
it. The responsibility is on you.
That's
And if
right.
you don't realize that and wake up and actually move in that,
Mm.
you'll miss out on some of the best things in life. I got to say this story. Oh my God, because
Yeah.
it's so powerful, Deshaun. You know Bishop Omer
Yes.
at
Yes.
Faithful Central. He once said, and I'm gonna give you the edited version. He had a paper that was due in school, and he was a part of Omega, the frat, and he had a girlfriend and the whole 9 yards. He said he had a huge paper, 50% of his grade, and he went home to work on it. He turned his frat down, said, "I ain't going to no parties." Turned his girl down. "I ain't hanging out with you this weekend. I'm working on this paper," and he worked on it. Put his head down, did the research, did the work, turned the paper in. Teacher graded the papers, put the papers back on the desk face down, like they used to do in school.
Yes,
He
yes.
turns the paper over and it's an F. Not just an F, a red F, and it's circled. He waits for everybody to leave. He goes up to the teacher. He goes, "I don't understand this." He said, "This is the best paper I've ever done. I stayed in, I did the research, I studied my butt off, didn't go on my dates, didn't hang out with my frat." And the teacher said, "You are right. This is the best paper you've ever done." But it wasn't the assignment. Wouldn't you hate, Deshaun, for
Oh,
God to say, "Oh, Deshaun, it was really nice of you how you volunteered over at the mission.
that
It
took
was
me.
really nice of you
Mm,
how you were over here doing what you were doing, but I called you to do the Yummy Cafe so that
mm,
more people could be reached, or I called you to mentor women because you told your mama, you realized that that was one of your gifts." And God is like, "Hey, do what I told you to do, not what's comfortable, not what feels good, not what somebody told you you're supposed to do, not what your mama and your daddy believed you were supposed to do. Do what
mm,
I called you to do," because it is then that he won't have to look at you and be like, "Oh, that was really good of you, Maura Gale, but that wasn't your assignment." I want to make
ooh,
sure I'm doing my assignment. I want
ooh,
to make sure that
mm,
everything I have in me, I am giving out. I want to be depleted,
yes,
totally used up. I don't
yes,
want to have nothing left when I die. So
yes,
that when I die, the worms in the dirt can't do nothing with it, no way, right? So I want
right.
to give it to you. Everything that I got, I want to give to you. And I want to give it in abundance. I want to give it until I got no more. I want to
Oh,
be exhausted. When I
yes,
lay in the bed at night, I go
yes,
to sleep and I'm like, I touch the mattress. My husband says it's all. He goes, as soon as you lay down, you
you out.
go right to bed
That's,
because I'm giving it all
you
out
know,
during the
yes,
day. I don't have
yes,
anything left.
yes. Listen, listeners, viewers, do you hear this? Do you understand the breakthrough, the clarity here? Do you understand that this is a revelation moment? This is
Mm,
really what we're talking about, the difference between being busy and being productive.
mm, mm,
Being busy and being,
mm.
I had to understand that years ago that let me tell you what I was doing. I was
What?
hiding, and I would go and assist and protect and help everybody's
Mm,
project. I can name them, they know who they are. I was code this for this person and code this for that person. They called me to shine, and I was hiding, like, I know what I'm supposed to do, but this is comfortable for me. This is
mm,
safe for me. I'm still serving. God said, "No, no, 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 no.
mm, mm,
No, you're not serving me, Deshaun. You're serving man.
mm,
You're not serving me. I
mm,
thank you for that. But you know the assignment." And I didn't hear it that way. He said, "That's not the purpose that I've called you to. You can do those things, but you're hiding.
mm.
That's hanging fruit, Deshaun."
Ooh-wee.
So when I
Ooh-wee.
saying that, it resonated in my soul because I remember being that person that
Yeah.
I was busy thinking I was productive. I was not on assignment. I
Mm,
was not on assignment.
yeah.
Yeah. So I love that story. I love that true story. I
Yeah.
I didn't know where you were going with that. I'm like, what, that wasn't the assignment.
Wasn't the assignment.
And you've known what your assignment, you've gotten that clarity. And I always,
Yeah.
share with my clients, I say, God will give you what he's giving you in the moment. Allow him to continue to reveal if you surrender to him.
Mhm.
Because he's not going to give you all of it. You will be overwhelmed.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
Some people can't even handle the tip of the tail of the tadpole. The
Yes.
tip of the tail of the tadpole, let alone the whole fish. So
Right.
so he if he shows it to you, it'll blow your mind. Daddy used to do this for me. I don't know how God would speak to you, but he would show me just a flash of the end.
Same here.
A
Yeah.
flash of the end. And I wouldn't know where to go next, what to do next,
Like,
how to move. And then there's a author, I can't think of her name, but the book is called Just Enough Light for Stormy O'Martin.
oh,
Just
yeah.
enough light for the step I'm on. Some people get just enough light for the step they're on. He didn't deal with me like that because he knew if I only had that one step, I wouldn't believe I could finish it. So
Oh.
he showed me the end before I ever began. So my phrase and my Mauraism for that was, God has already finished designing the place he's putting you in. So
Mm,
before you give birth to a problem, he's giving birth to the solution. And
solution.
and, and so it's already finished before you've even thought it. So
That's right.
my thoughts are so fertile that I
Yes.
got to be careful of what I think because it'll grow, Deshaun.
Happen. It
I have to
happened.
be careful of what I think because my thoughts are fertile. And people don't understand the power of that, nor do
Right.
they understand the power of the life and death in your tongue. If I speak it, I'm speaking life or
Right.
death unto me. And
That's
people don't
right.
even understand that. Like when they go, oh my God, you're killing me. No, you're not killing me. Oh, no, no,
Right.
no, no, no. Or I
Right.
love you to death. No, I love you
Oh,
to
I don't
life. Or when
life.
they say, I can kill
Right.
two birds with one stone. No, I can bless two angels with one kiss. Why am
Come
I going
on
to
now,
hurt them
Mark. Come
innocent birds? I
on.
can
Come
go on and
on.
on and on because
Right.
there is life in this
Right.
tongue. And as
Right.
long as I profess and confess what is good, I'm going to receive those things back.
That's
I'm
right.
not trying to bury myself in nothing too soon.
No,
I'm
no,
not.
not
I
at
got
all.
living to do. I
Right.
got loving to do.
Right.
I got business to take care of.
Right.
I'm about my
Right.
daddy's business. I work for
Right.
God Incorporated. Now,
That's right.
Hollywood or Atlanta Wood may
Right.
sign my paychecks, but I work for God Incorporated.
That's
And guess
right.
what, Deshaun? His
That's right.
benefits, they are out of this world,
Oh
as
my
in
goodness.
eternal.
Right.
Out of this world, baby.
Right.
There is
Overflowing. Overflowing.
overflowing,
Endless.
overflowing,
Endless. Right.
endless possibilities.
When I'm doing a work or directing a show and some parents say, "Oh, you're a director. Are you looking for an assistant?" I said, "I am the assistant." I said, "Oh, God is he's the
See,
director." I said,
see,
"I'm assisting him." They go, "Oh." I said, "No,
yeah,
I am the co-director."
yes,
I said, "Oh, no, no, no.
yes.
I am the
I know.
co-director."
I know who's
Right,
giving it.
right.
I know who's giving the
I
orders.
decrease so that he increases
Yes,
in me. Oh my
yes.
goodness, I love this. Okay, we're gonna move to our next moment. Your hurdle moments. What has been some of the setbacks, right?
Okay.
The moments where Mara had to say, yay, nay, how do I find my bounce factor,
Mhm,
muscle? How do I build that up? What does this look like? What are the naysayers? And then saying, but I also want to ask you this specifically.
mhm,
In the big city of LA,
mhm.
Hollywood,
Yeah.
competitors,
Mhm,
the crabs in the barrel,
mhm.
those that are saying you have to look this way, speak this way, how did you allow your gift from God and your education and expertise to come and be amongst that energy, Mara, as a
Uh,
hurdle?
you know, I'll blow your mind with a real simple. It ain't even deep. I'm so shallow on this one because I never ever went in with gravitas or any of that. I went in on assignment, and my friends all knew it. They were like, "You go in and you pray for people." And let me
Mm,
break down what that means.
mhm.
When I got my first trailer on a show, the extras, I went over to get some snacks from craft services and they were like, "Oh, you got a trailer?" I was like, "Yeah, you can come in my trailer. I'm studying the word though. If you come in my trailer, I'm studying the word." So they were like, "She said we can come in her trailer." So I let some extras in my trailer because I was studying the word.
Yeah.
And so I began to study and teach them the word. And I'll never forget the first PA came over into my trailer to bring something. They were like, "What are these extras doing in here? You want me to get them out?" And I was like, "No, no, 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 no." I was like, "We're studying the word. And as long as they with me and we reading the word, they're
Yes.
good." And she was like, "Oh, okay." She was like, "You got about 30 minutes before you're gonna have to be on set." I was like, "Okay." And that was how it began. And it
Okay.
was that way ever since. So when I would go to auditions, if
Mm,
somebody was nervous to Sean, I would literally go sit next to them and I'd say, "Hey, can I pray for you?" And I
mm.
remember how they would look at me like we're in this room and all of us auditioning for the same role, like you, my competition, but I wasn't competing with nobody. And I
Right.
would pray for them so that it would calm their nerves. And it didn't even matter to me if I got the job or not. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you've realized this, but it's the jobs that you just come in, you know what you're supposed to do, and you let it go. Like I
Mm,
leave the room and I'm not thinking, did I get it? Did I say that right? Could I say that better? I go in, I do what I'm supposed to do, and I would leave. But my assignment wasn't what other people's assignment was. And I believe God gave me a lot of gigs simply because he knew I was going to be a light. And
yeah.
he knew it wasn't like I didn't hang my hat on my acting accolades. It was never about that for me. And
Mm,
that became how I believe other doors kept opening for me. It
okay.
wasn't that I was the most talented, but I tell you, I was going to study my role. I was going to know what I was supposed to do. But more importantly, I wasn't going to compromise who I was in him. And I didn't walk into set with a Christ t-shirt and a big cross on my head, but I was the light. I was the church.
Yes.
I was all that I was supposed to be for him. So you knew who I was without me ever having to preach to you the gospel.
That's right.
And it's still that way to this day.
Okay.
It's still
Okay.
that way to this day. Now I don't get to pray with people sitting next to him because of course we shut down and we're taping, but
Right.
that was how it was in Hollywood. And then let me add a caveat to that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I knew who I was and what my gifts were, every audition I went to, you ready for this? Gonna blow your
Yes.
mind. Every audition I went, and my friends will tell you, Teresa, TV Blake, and Aaron Sands, they'll tell you I did this. Every audition I went to, I would take a copy of my anointed agenda. I'd take two actually. I'd give one to an actress who was sitting in the lobby because it was perfect for your headshot because it was the right size. Your headshot could fit in. You could write down your auditions, your bookings, what you were,
Okay.
your callback.
Okay.
But then I would give one to the producer or the casting director in the room.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget the time I gave one to Robbie Reed because she
Ah,
used to buy them. This is what happened. We were there and I was auditioning, and she said, I have Maura's organizer. I think she brought it up or somebody brought it up. And she said, you still make those books? And I said, yeah. I went over to my bag and I said, I have one right here. And I gave it to them.
I
It was
love it.
Darnell Martin. So it was Robbie Reed and Darnell Martin. Do you know I got that gig? Now, I'm not saying I got that gig because of that, but I'm
Right.
saying that to
Right.
say the film
Right.
was their eyes were watching God.
Mm.
I
Mm.
showed up with God in me, and
Yeah.
then I showed up with a gift that God had birthed through me.
You.
And
Yes.
so I'm sure that was and it was supposed to be for my character a 3-day shoot. I shot for 24 days.
Come
That was
on
how I
now.
wrote that book for 24 days.
Come on.
And
Come.
even on that, Kate, who was the executive producer for Oprah, she had sent me to a tanning spa because the girl who got my role was supposed to be browner than me, and I was too fair skinned. So they sent me to a
Wow.
tanning spa. I
Wow.
was utterly embarrassed because I had a robe on and I thought I was going to lay in a tanning bed because I had never been to one. And the
Right. Right.
lady calls me into a room, and there are some blocks in the room, some blocks, those blocks that they sit on. I can't remember what they're
Mhm.
called. And she
Uh-huh.
said, "Stand on that and drop the robe."
And
I
they
was
did
like,
all like sprayed you
I was
down?
like, "What? Excuse me?" Like, I'm looking at this little 28-year-old
Yeah.
young lady thinking, "Surely I gotta be naked for this?" And so I began to talk to her because I'm trying to get over this nervousness of I'm about to be full Monty
Absolutely.
to this
Yeah.
person I don't know, and I'm getting a tan in places I don't even need a tan. I was like, "Oh," and she was like, "Okay, so turn around." I was like, "Listen, nobody's gonna be around that area. Nobody's going to see that
I
area.
draw the
You
line.
don't have to tan that area." And so we laughed about it. She ended up telling me how she had been. I said, "How did you get this whole space?" She said, "I'm actually trying to get two and it's been tied up." And she says, "And nothing's happening." I said, "Let me pray for you." So I
Mm.
touched hands with her and I prayed for the Lord to free up the red tape to
Yeah.
give her her heart's desire and to allow her to buy the business. When I showed up the first day on set, Kate, which was Oprah Winfrey's executive producer, had a huge bouquet in my trailer. She came to tell me,
Goodness.
"That's my friend." She said
Oh
she
no.
got the business. It had been tied up for months. And after you prayed for her, she got a phone call. It was either within the next few days or
Wow.
definitely within that week. And she said from the moment you prayed for her, she believed she was going to have it. She said, and it freed up. But I'm saying that to you guys who are
Yes.
listening and
Yes.
watching, that you never know what God wants to do with you.
Right.
If you are shut her down, if you are, and I was embarrassed. That was a
Yeah.
very vulnerable moment for
Of
me.
course. Of
So for God
course.
to take it from a vulnerable place to a place to empower somebody else, which takes it off of me
You.
and puts a light on somebody else to let them shine, just
Right.
goes to show you if you're obedient and if you're willing, God will use you. And I
Right.
got thousands of stories like that. This is like it's coming to my mind because I happen to remember their eyes were watching God. There's
Right.
stories like that. I've got touchstones in my life of
Mm.
when God showed up and showed out, or when God utilized a situation in order to reveal, what he wanted for somebody or for me. And it
Yes.
doesn't always happen pretty and pretty and packaged like that. There
Right.
were obstacles when I gave birth to the anointed agenda. There were typos in the anointed agenda and doing quality control. And I was just losing my mind like, oh my God, Lord, what is this? There were
Yeah.
always, when I gave birth to the book, the first printing company tried to rip me off, but because I charged the amount of the publishing on a credit card, the credit card went in default because they never delivered the goods because I had a contract. But had I not had a contract and had I not charged it, because I wanted to pay cash for it, but the Holy Spirit said charge it. And I was like, I rebuke you. I don't owe no man nothing but love. I was debt free. But he
Right.
said charge it. Had I
Right.
not heard the Holy Spirit say charge it, if I had paid that man cash, I would have lost it.
Lost it. You would have lost it.
There was only a portion of what I owed, but I would
Right.
have lost $15,000.
Right.
But
Right.
it went into
No.
default. I got the money back. And then the printer, the person who ended up printing my book, she was a Christian printer. She printed it and it was $10,000 less than I would have paid. But
Okay.
that was because of obedience. But all of
Yes.
those things were
Yes.
labor pains. I
Yes.
wanted to abort that baby.
I talk
I
about
was in
that. Yes.
pain. I was
Yes.
like, no, this baby
Same.
is this one. No, this can't be
Right.
here,
Right.
because I knew that it was breached. I knew
Right.
that baby was breached. And it
Mm.
wasn't until God got the bad printer out the way that I was with the purposeful printer, and she printed
Yes.
my book for 17 years.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So you
Yes.
can't give up, which is a part of, I'm gonna help you sum up my words because I know we almost at that 3 minute, that 1 hour mark. My 3 words were pursuit, perseverance, and
Purpose.
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 So pursuit, I'm going to just tell what the definition is: the action of following or pursuing someone or something. I
Mm-hmm.
wrote the vision down plain, according to Habakkuk 2:2. I wrote the vision down plain and I ran with that vision.
Mm-hmm.
Then perseverance, which you think is kind of like pursuit, which it is, but perseverance means it's a continual effort in the
Yeah.
midst of obstacles,
Yeah.
in the midst of difficulties. You've got to, if you're going to pursue something and have laser beam focus to focus on it, you have to have perseverance in order to overcome those mountains. Because, baby, no matter how beautiful the vision is, no matter how succinct you write it, you're going to have some problems. You're going to have some setbacks. You're going to have some hiccups. You're going to
That's
have some challenges. But if you persevere, if
yeah.
you get up in spite of, you'll
Yeah.
actually accomplish it. And then my last word, of course, is purpose.
Yes.
And purpose, the definition is the reason for which something is done or created, or for which something exists. And
Mm-hmm.
when you know your purpose,
Mm.
when you know your assignment, when
Yeah.
you know what makes God smile, frown, or cry,
Mm.
you're going to strive to make him smile. And
Yes.
so I know when I'm doing what God created and called me to do, that he is not only smiling, in a lot of cases, he's laughing because he knew that I would do it. He
Yes.
knew he could trust me with it. He knew that I wouldn't shrink as a result of the mantle, but he knew I'd run after him and I'd do my very best to make sure that everything that I have, I can give out to other people so that somebody won't have to die on my watch.
Oh,
Because
see?
somebody is dying in
Yes.
order to get what it is that God called you to give.
Oh.
And why are you making them wait? And why are you making them suffer? The person who had the divorce that you haven't told about your divorce, the person that had the breakup that you haven't shared your story, therefore they're not free, the person who had the abortion and they're living in bondage, the person who literally has been bankrupt and they are embarrassed about their bankruptcy because you haven't told them how you lost all your money and were able to gain it back. That person, they're waiting for you. They're
Yeah.
waiting for you to
Yeah.
tell your story so that they have permission to live their best life, their fullest life,
Wow.
according to God's purpose.
Wow. Maura, that is just so, clearly offered and stated.
Mm.
And it's good and it's right and it's freeing.
Amen.
It also, to me, sounds like what I was going to also ask when you're talking about purpose, the worthy moment. That's when you know you're worthy of the fight, of pushing through. I call it surrendering and leaning
Mhm.
in, right?
Mhm.
And when we talk about surrender, there's a difference between surrender and resignation.
Yes.
Come on.
Preach.
A lot of us think we're in surrender and
And
we're in
they're resigned.
resignation. I'll give that up if I'll do this, but like when you write your letter of resignation from a job, right? You're
Mhm.
leaving because you have something better. So
Yeah.
we expect God to give us something when we can see it's just something better. That's not surrender. That's resignation. And what I'm hearing you speak to is the purpose that he's called us to. You surrender to that. You say, God, the very thing you're giving to me, I give back to you.
And
I am
and
purpose,
that's
right?
when he doubles it, triples it, quadruples it. When we give it back to him, he makes it more better. It's
Right.
gooder. It's better. It's bigger. It's
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
and that's the thing.
Yes.
BIG is belief in God, right? And so
Yes.
if you want to win big, give big. If
Give
you want to do big things, expect big things, share
Yes.
big things. And
Yes.
so when
Yes.
you come and you are
Mm.
unafraid to surrender it all back
Mhm,
to the
mhm.
one who gave it to you. He
That's
gave
right.
it to you, right?
That's
So
right.
why not give it all back to him?
Why not? Why not?
I double dog dare you to try it. People holding on to it, and he's like,
Touching
"Baby,"
it.
he's like, "Look, we holding on to our little heart." He's like, "If
Right,
you give it to me, I'll heal it.
right.
If you give me that 50 cent, I'll multiply it. You worried about this bill sitting on your desk." He's like, if you give me my percentage and you give that bill and trust that I'm gonna do it,
Come
and
on,
you give your
come on,
talents to me,
come
he
on.
says, I will kiss your talents. And that company that you worked for, you were Mara, you were trying to leave CNN headline news in order to go work for a theater. But if you give me your talents, I'll fix it so you ain't gotta wait for no check from
That's
nobody
right.
doing something you
That's
don't want
right.
to do.
That's
I'll
right.
make it so that you can set your own hours, do what
That's
you
right.
want to do, when you
That's
want to
right.
do it, and if
That's
you want to
right.
do it.
So
And guess
do
what?
it.
You would do it for free if you wanted to, but you get paid and they want to pay you. So you accept the money, and it's more money than you would have made doing what you thought you were going to do in the first place. I could talk about it forever because I live it, Deshaun. I
Yes,
live it. This
yes,
ain't no, I ain't, this
yes.
ain't no role. This ain't a phoned in conversation. I'm not faxing this. This
Right.
is my life.
In real time. In real time. I said that. I said, listen, I gave a little caveat in the beginning. I said, listen now, she's transparent. She is pure. When I pick up the phone to say hello to Maura Gale, she's already there. She's already there with the energy and depositing it. And she's giving me the overflow. And I go, oh my goodness, yes, because the woman speaks from the place that she's been birthed into. This is not just her speaking from the teleprompter, people. She
No.
is not being mechanical, robotic. She is moving in the place that God has placed her from the very beginning. And Mara, not a lot of Christians
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
They have a lot of this,
Yeah.
but they don't do it.
Yeah. But
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I gotta say this because this is the other part, and a part of why your show is so necessary. Now, we've listed certain things about my life, from the hurdles to the inception moment, and how all of these things happen. But I've given people a snap view of a flash of what's happened. What they don't see is all
Yeah.
they heard one or two of the hurdles, but they didn't know I smoked so much weed. That's what caused me to have a bad memory. They didn't know that I had been gang raped at the age of 15, which is
Oh,
what caused me to be promiscuous, which is why it was elusive for me. They didn't know that at a tender age of 15, I had an abortion. They didn't know. So there's so many other
yes.
layers in the midst of that. But let
Yes.
me say this,
Yes.
just like David was an adulterer and a liar, but became to be the man after God's own heart. Moses could barely even speak right, but look at who Moses was. You
Yes.
got you got
Yes.
Rahab, who was a
Yes.
harlot, who became a part of the heritage, the lineage of Jesus, Mary Salmon. So there's so many rich stories of people in the
Yes.
Bible that
Yes.
God took their brokenness, and because they could speak to the broken, they
Mm,
were able to do some things that those who were polished and pristine couldn't do. Now, that doesn't mean if you've never been through something, God won't use you. I'm not saying that. But what I
that's
am saying is, if God allowed you to go through it, if God allowed you to live it, if God allowed you to succeed in the midst of strife and
yes.
struggle, if
Yes.
God allowed you to come out on top when you know you were on bottom and rock bottom, and you were on drugs, or you were alcoholic, and he still blessed you, or you got not one divorce but two or three divorces, and he gave you a godly man, you got to give something back to him. You got to give him credit for what he's done, and you got to tell somebody else, because somebody else is living in shame, living in guilt, and living in defeat because you ain't opened up your mouth to tell them that, no, baby, it wasn't always peaches and cream. It wasn't always
Right.
righteous and roses. I have been through some hard things, and you
That's right.
won't believe it to look at me, because I may not look like
Look
what I've
like
been through, but
that's right.
trust me, baby
That's right.
girl.
That's right.
Trust me. I done
That's
been through
right.
some things. I done lived some things.
That's
I done
right.
had roaches crawling on me from when I lived in the
See?
ghetto. I had
See?
alcoholic parents cussing and fighting in front of me. I saw it all. Drug addicts on the
Mm,
street. I
mm,
saw it all, was a
mm.
part of it. But God snatched me out of that,
I pulled
and he
you up by
allowed
your roots.
all that
That's
I
right.
lived through to
That's right.
be like a book for somebody to read. That's why I
Yeah.
wrote the book Beyond
Yes.
Blessed, because
Yes.
people can buy that book and they can read
Yes.
about my
Yes.
struggles, and it'll
Yes.
remind them that no matter what they're going through, if God can do it for me, he'll do that and even more with them, because he is not a respecter of person.
Persons. That's right. That's right. That's right. See, this is the energy in which we speak from
Mm.
and we teach from. And these are offerings, those of you that are
Yeah.
listening and watching, right? Rose said hello to you and I, by the way. Rose said
Yay!
hello, ladies, right? But this is the energy in which we are presenting the offerings for growth, the diamonds for your destiny, the nuggets to get you to say, oh, okay, this is what happened. So when you're listening to the phenomenal woman share her journey of purpose, of obedience, there was moments where she had to be pulled up from those roots and
Yes.
replanted, watered,
Yeah.
nurtured, right? And saying yes to that new environment. And environment doesn't just mean physical, people. We're talking about your mental, your emotional, your spiritual, right? What does that look like? What does that environment look like? And so, I let me just let them know. So Mara was scheduled to do the show for November. She's out doing her thing, honey. We were in Atlanta, right? She's in Atlanta filming and doing her thing. I said, well, let's see if I can move the other, guests for December. And we were able to do that. We were able to do just that.
Thank you, Jesus.
And I said, what an amazing, divinely ordered plan that
Mm.
God had for you to take out this year for our listeners, our viewers,
Yeah.
for you to talk about the
Mm.
manifestation of your dreams, of your desires. When you were in that basement,
Yes.
you were in that basement, right? Into today, into every next step that you have. So that as we're closing 2021, we know what we've all gone through and what we've overcome and what's been happening. But you're seeing a woman here who's sharing the light, who went to Atlanta for how many days and ended up how many days?
Supposed to be for 7 or 8, ended up staying there 30 days. Booked. Supposed to be a 1-day shoot, ended up doing a recurring role on one show and got booked on another show that ended on my birthday.
I need them to hear that just one more time, Maura Gale. You were supposed to be
7 days turned 30.
there. We go.
7 days turned 30.
Right.
One
It's just,
one day of work turned into a recurring role on a show and another TV show. I
I
can't
just
make it up.
can't
I
make it
couldn't have
up.
even thought that up.
Right. Pursuit, perseverance, purpose.
Yes.
Pursuit, perseverance, purpose. Before we release our audience, our viewers, I'd like for you to let us know about all of any of your products, services, up and coming shows. Again, let us know where you're going to be before we're going to put up your information, how they can get in contact with you. But do you want to share with us your products, services, what you're working on, what you've just completed? Please have the stage, please.
Absolutely. Okay, so you guys can reach me at mauragale.com. All things can be found there on social, on Facebook and Instagram. It's at Maura. If you want my actual fan page, please go like my fan page. It's The Real Maura. And my YouTube channel, come and subscribe, Maura Gale. All of these are Maura Gale. You can find me. And then my book, Beyond Blessed, you could purchase it on my website, or you could just email me, mauragale@gmail.com. And I've got my book. I also have my DVD, STEM, which is three women's journey to God. We tell you about all the stuff we've lived through. We dramatize it. It actually won a film award. And then you can catch me in January on Ordinary Joe, like Deshaun mentioned. It's on NBC. And then I'll be in Devin Franklin and Kirk Franklin's newest upcoming TV show, April of 2022. It's called Kingdom Business, starring Yolanda Adams, Soraya, and Michael Beach, and several other people.
And
So
that's on
you
BET Plus.
BET Plus, and then of course right now you can catch me on Amazon Prime in the role where I play Lawrence Fishburne's wife. Super excited about that. That's called Under the Stadium Lights.
Now,
And
Mark, just tell us a little bit about working with him. Come on, give us a little
well,
backstage
it
pass.
was just phenomenal. He's just so generous. And, the Lord did that. That wasn't even a role I auditioned for. I can't even, I promise you, I could give you
Wow.
story after story of how God just put some things in my lap.
Yeah.
But when I worked with him, he's such a consummate professional. In my mind, I was just thinking, Lord, just don't let me screw up. I want to show up the way you created me, and I
Right.
don't want to mess up. I just want to
Right.
do what you call me to do. And it was like tying my shoes,
Mm.
working opposite of him. was like tying my shoes. I never missed a beat. I never fumbled a scene or anything. It was just being present in the moment as the character I had studied for, and then him being who he was. There were scenes where he had to sing some stuff, and he'd say, "Okay, for this scene, no, I want you to come over here and stand next to me while I'm doing." He was just generous, where he wanted to make sure there was coverage of
Yes,
me, even
yes.
in scenes I wasn't even scheduled to be in.
Oh, that's so
So who
sweet.
does that? Like, who
Right.
does that but a generous giant? Because you
Yes.
got to be a giant in
To
order to
know.
share your light,
Yes,
right?
that's
Because he
right.
didn't
That's
have to
right.
do that, but it was
That's
like, no, I
right.
want you to come over here. I want you to be over here with me when we do this. And then at the end, he was like, I think we should have a little peck at the end. So I got to kiss Lawrence Fishburne. So
Well, wait a minute.
so
What did
all of
Pastor
those
say? What did Pastor say about
Pastor
all?
actually had a cameo on the day that I shot with
No
Lawrence.
way.
Yes, he did. So he in the mix in the film. But all of that is just another what I call a God wink. You know, when God is smiling on you
Yeah.
and pleased with what you do, and He wants to throw a caveat for your labor, for your effort, for all
Yeah.
the no's that you've heard. For all the times you didn't
Oh,
get something that you may
say it.
have been the most qualified, and you could beat yourself up, or you could feel like, am I still supposed to be doing this? Am I too old to do this?
Mhm.
Well, I'm here to tell you, I've had more work with this size waistline. And before, I used to be able to put my hands on my hips and they could almost touch. That's how thin my waistline was. And I had no wrinkles. I had no gray hair. Everything was perky and happy. Back when I was acting, and I never had the opportunities that I now have. I never was booked as much as I'm booked now.
I
Back
love
then, when I was 25 and 30, when I thought this
it.
is it. Either I do it now or it's gonna die and I'll never be able to do it. God says, no, baby. I
Mm,
will resurrect those bones. I
mm,
will, I will water those dead dreams. I will refurbish things that you didn't even know was possible. I will turn it all around. And
mm.
your latter days will be way greater than
Come
your beginning days,
come
because
on.
God never forgot my dream.
Yeah,
God never forgot the little girl who
girl, that's
still
what
imagines, who
yes,
still dreams, who
yes.
still writes in a journal the things that she
Mm.
wants to have. God
Yes,
doesn't forget it, and God doesn't waste one drop. So every tear I cry, every time my heart was broken, and every time I was like, dang it, I didn't get that. I thought I did really good. He was like, don't worry about that. I got something better for you. When I
mm.
lost my husband and when I lost my kids, God
Yes,
had a husband and grandchildren and children waiting for me. He had it waiting for me. It wasn't double for my trouble. He gave me quadruple
come
for my trouble.
come on, come
That's
on.
the kind of good God we serve. That's the
He's
kind
good.
of good
Yes,
God we serve.
yes, yes, yes. How can you live without
How
him? I
can you live without him? I need
right?
him. I need him. I
How can
need
you?
you, Lord. I need
Come on
you.
now, come on, listen.
Glory,
Listen, come on, sing the
I
city, Mara.
need you.
Mm.
We ain't gonna sing today. We're
Mara,
gonna
you
we're gonna
know
leave
I
that
want you
alone.
to, I'm gonna make you sing. I'm gonna make you do all the
This little light of
come on,
mine,
Mara, come on.
I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine. That's why I got on
Yes,
yellow for y'all.
yes, 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 yes. Mara, you are just, I'm gonna get you together and put you in my purse. And I'm gonna take you with me when I need, and I'm just take you out, spray you. You know what I mean? So what's that? The shot, Maura Gale? Where you get
That
that
is
from?
adorable.
I
I'm
don't want
gonna
to
have to
share
bite
where I
that.
got it from. I don't want to share, but it's my Maura Gale.
I'm gonna have to bite that. I'm gonna take you to Sean.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
put you together, and I'm gonna pack you in my purse, and I'm gonna pull you out, and I'm gonna spray you. What you got on? I got my Deshaun. My Deshaun right here, right here. Where you got it from? You can take a whiff of it, but
Right, you
you
can take a
take it.
whiff.
Listen now, listen.
This is what I need. You know, this here, this
That's
woman.
adorable.
Yes, no, you are just phenomenal. Your journey, your story, and I said this before, and I'm gonna say it again before we close out. This woman has been exactly the same from the moment I met her.
Mm,
Mara, you have never changed. I'm not gonna cry. I may cry.
mm. Thank you, Lord.
You have never
Thank
changed
you,
your
Lord.
spirit,
Thank you.
your vibrations,
Thank
your intentions. You have always been consistent
you.
in your walk, in your demonstration of love, of giving, of honoring others in your space.
Thank you,
She has always honored others as she honors
Lord.
herself. And I am so grateful
Mm,
and delighted to our
mm,
sister friendship.
Mm,
to our camaraderie, to our being
mm.
colleagues, to our being peers, to our being sisters in Christ.
Thank you, Lord.
You have allowed me and others that you taught through all of your life work to see that there's room enough on this earth for everyone.
Thank you, Lord.
You continue to be that beacon of light. You have never, ever strayed from your light and allowing others to shine brightly with you.
Mm,
And I thank you for always being a great influencer,
mm,
even in your silence. Even when you
mm.
think you are telling a cute joke, even when you think you are being just
Thank
silent and quiet, your light shines and you uplift others
you.
all day long. And I want to say, thank you, my sister.
Mm,
Thank
mm.
because although people see our lights and see what we're doing, we still need someone's to
Mm,
deposit into us
mm,
and to love on us.
mm,
You stand in that completely,
mm.
unconditionally. And I say thank you.
Jesus.
I mean it from my
Thank you,
heart.
Jesus. Thank you, Jesus.
I say thank you because
Mm.
when people look at people like me, they see a giant. They see someone that, but then another giant comes in
Thank you,
to
Jesus.
be my pillar of strength,
Thank you,
to
Jesus.
hold me up,
Thank you,
and
Jesus.
to keep me motivated.
Thank
So
you,
I
Jesus.
thank you
Mm,
for allowing my 2021
mm.
end in this way. That you are blessing me and those that are watching and
Thank you,
will
Lord.
watch. I can be a crybaby. It doesn't matter.
Mm,
I thank you and I give you your roses in this
mm.
moment.
Thank you, Lord.
I
Thank
give
you,
you
Lord.
your roses and I say thank you, my sister.
Thank you, Lord.
Thank you for this
Bless you.
woman has her own show, her own everything, and she's shown up for the Yummy Cafe for us.
Honey,
I adore you.
I adore you right back. And everything you said is like a boomerang back to you. You have been the same. I'm not going to regurgitate all your wonderful words. I'm going to receive it for deposit only. But you, my sister, have been authentic, you have been genuine, and you too have been the same bright light that I have met when we first got together. Now I couldn't remember exactly where, but I never forgot how you made me feel.
Yeah.
And you've always made me feel that way. And you showed up for me. There was no way on heaven or earth. When I couldn't do the show in November, I was like, Deshaun, I'm here, I'm shooting. I don't
Yeah.
know what the days are. Can we move it? And you were like, I'll check. And the Lord parted the Red Seas to
Yes.
allow it to be so because He knew both of us wanted
Yes.
this moment.
Yes.
We wanted this shared experience, and
That's
I was honored to say yes. And what a privilege and a pleasure and a service you are affording not just women, but men. You may be speaking about women and their journey and whatever, but men get to be a fly on a wall and
that's
understand what it takes to be with a strong woman,
that's
or what it takes to be with a woman who knows how to person. You want men, you want a woman who
yes.
knows how to get back up when she falls down, knows how to repair her credit when it gets low, knows how to get a better job when
That's
one
right.
is no longer available. You want that in your life. And Deshaun, you are providing a service and a platform for women to tell their stories, thus giving other women permission to try again, to
Yes.
look beyond that fail and not look at it as a fail, but look at it as a fall forward. What are you going to do next? And
Next.
that's all I think. My next and my now are going to blow people's mind.
That's right.
Your next and your now blowing people's mind.
That's
And
right.
so that's how we have to live. And I thank you for your generosity in word and in deed, because you, my dear, are an earth angel. And I'm so glad that I get to do life with you, my
Mm,
sorority sister, my
yes.
spiritual sister,
Yes.
and my just ride or die
I
girlfriend.
know. I know.
My
Listen.
girlfriend.
Thank you. Thank you. I know they're like, oh my, this is it. I told you I'll get you a cup of your sauce. I have a seat at the Yummy Cafe. I told you that. Mara, I want you to take us to our closing and just share. You've shared and given of yourself. In addition to your three journey words, what has been and continues to be your pillars of strength as we are moving from 2021? We didn't came through 2020.
Mhm.
We're embarking on 2022, which I am calling manifestation, right? The
Yes. Oh,
manifest.
that's good.
Yes.
That's
What do
good.
you want to tell us, share with us, are your pillars of strength of all that you've gone through and where you are and where you're going? What has brought you and continues to bring you through to who you are in your next levels?
Before I give that, I want to share it's a quote that Janet Jackson actually said. And the quote, and I love it. It was a beautiful quote about procrastination because I think people, they think time is always going to be there.
Yeah.
I think people just take time for granted. If time were dollar bills, if time were $100 bills, how would you spend it? And so Janet Jackson had a very simple quote, and she's quoted as saying this. I don't know if it's exactly hers, but it is: procrastination uh, is the arrogant assumption
Mm.
that God owes you another opportunity to do what you had time to do.
Wow.
Procrastination is an arrogant assumption that
Mm.
God owes you another opportunity to do what you had time to do. And
Mm.
so my words to leave with everyone as the pillar would be aware,
Yeah.
be aware of others. I'm aware of myself and I'm aware of my purpose. Be authentic. Never pretend to be anybody other than who you are, because it'll be harder to remember who you were pretending to be rather than show up as you. So no matter where somebody sees me, in the movie theater, on the streets, in the grocery store, in the privacy of my home,
Mhm.
the me that I am is always the same. I don't have to put
Yes.
my game on. Oh, somebody here. I got to act like I'm somebody else. Be aware,
Right.
be authentic, and then last, be the light.
Yes.
Be the light no matter where I go, no matter
Mm.
who I'm with, no matter who goes with me, he goes with me.
That's
And
right.
so, as long as God can be with me in any circumstance, any situation, any room, any place of business or otherwise, I know I'm going to show up as a light.
Yeah.
I may not be the brightest light in the room, but I promise you, I'm going to cause somebody's darkness to dissipate, because
Mm.
darkness pauses at my presence. If
Oh.
you show up with the light,
Mm.
darkness will pause at your presence. Now, what happens to that darkness when I'm not around is not my concern, but it has to pause. The
Yeah.
enemy has to be served a notice that you can't be present when I show up. And
Yes.
so allow darkness to pause at your presence by being the light. Be aware, be
Mm.
authentic, and be the light so the darkness can pause at your presence.
And then we inhale and we exhale. Listen, I said it in the beginning and I'm saying it now. You are going to have some ear candy, honey. For your soul. And I
Mm.
hope that those that are watching that stay with us, thank you so very much. And those that are watching the replay, all of your comments, all of your feedback, type it in. If you have a question, if you didn't get her information, is there. Her information is there. But if you have a question, a comment, suggestion, I will follow up. We will follow up with you. We just want to say thank you for joining us. And we really want you to have a wonderful rest of 2021. We want you to really begin to manifest the desires of your heart. Take away the notes that were given this evening, right? And really apply them to your journey. That's what we're here for. You don't have to say, oh, that's someone else's journey. That doesn't work for me. No, it's principle. It's principle, right? And so that's what we're offering is principle. And principles never change.
Mhm.
Okay. So thank you so much, my sister, for your beautiful words, your beautiful, insightful, engagement this evening, your time, your energy, your thoughtfulness, your unconditional love. I just thank you so very much. We love you all. We want you to thrive. I will be back in January for this show, but I am doing actually a free manifest master class on Wednesday,
Mm.
January the 29th at 6 p.m. I'm doing right now a 12 days of manifest. So every day I'm dropping what that manifest looks like. Day one, day two, I believe tomorrow's day four, and leading up to the 29th. of December, where I'm going to host and do an actual one-on-one, real engaging workshop with those that are in the free masterclass. I'm actually going to do a coaching session in real time, take a piece of a barrier that's been blocking, women, and I'm going to manifest breakthrough.
Mm.
So this is what we're all about. And I just love you. I thank you all for watching and being with us. And as I always say, yes, I want you to maximize your magnificence, but I always want you to live life magnified. And we love you. God bless you. And we'll see you in the new year. Bye bye. Thank